In this part of the presentation, I'd like to discuss with you the term inclusiveness in a little bit more practical terms. In other words, how can we make our teaching practice and our educational content more inclusive? So we can think of the term inclusiveness across three dimensions: course climate, accessibility, and usability. And we'll analyze these terms in the next few slides. The course climate refers to the general atmosphere and feeling of the learner experience. It is a tacit, implied concept, but it can very much affect the way a learner perceives and approaches the learning material. More simply, we can think of this in terms of negativity or positivity. There are four dimensions to the course climate. The intellectual dimension refers to the way that the learner perceives her own knowledge and skill level in relation to the class average. Perhaps she feels that it is further ahead, or perhaps she feels that she is struggling. The emotional dimension refers to whether the climate is welcoming, appreciative, and respectful. Research tells us that if a learner perceives the emotional aspect of the course unfavorably, this can seriously hinder their learning. Of course, if someone is preoccupied with whether other people are second-guessing or criticizing them, they won't be able to focus on what is being taught. The physical dimension refers to aspects of the physical space, as well as the digital space. How easy is it to access the learning resources or communicate with other people, for example? The social aspect refers to the improvised mini-groups that tend to emerge spontaneously when people with common interests or backgrounds come together. On the left here, we can see some of the factors of these dimensions which can ultimately influence the course climate. It is perhaps better to think of the course climate as a spectrum, ranging from explicitly marginalizing to explicitly centralizing. The attributes of an explicitly marginalizing climate are that it feels openly unwelcoming, sexist, or even racist. An implicitly marginalizing climate feels hostile and unwelcoming as well. But the way this is achieved is quite subtle and indirect, and in a way perhaps neither the learners nor the instructor are aware of how it is happening. In the implicitly centralizing climate, the instructor requests and appreciates different viewpoints, attempting to integrate them into the teaching practice in a validating way. In the explicitly centralizing climate, the instructor makes a conscious effort to present the material in a spherical way as possible, covering multiple viewpoints and perspectives, creating a safe environment for debate and discussion. Here's a list of strategies which you can implement to make the climate more centralizing and inclusive. Make uncertainty safe. Allow students to voice different opinions, but ask them to justify and support their opinions with experiences, evidence, or knowledge. As a tutor, examine your own assumptions about students and avoid stereotypical thinking or labeling based on background, ethnicity, ability, and so on. Finally, establish some ground rules for interaction. What sort of language is expected, what behavior is tolerated, and what the implications are if someone neglects to adhere to this. For this next activity, have a look at the course climate scenarios we've uploaded to Keats for you. These are some realistic course climate scenarios which are taken from the experience of individual tutors, and they kind of mention the challenges that these tutors faced. So have a look at these, read through them, and then consider why did these challenges arise, and perhaps how could these challenges have been avoided. Again, to complete this activity, we'd like you to post your responses to the forum and then respond to the response of at least one other individual.